People's genes have been changed so that they stop getting older at age 25. The only catch is that when a person turns 25, they only have one more year to live. But the timer on their forearm, people can see how long they have left to live. Time is now the world's currency. The rich can pretty much live forever, while the poor live paycheck to paycheck and will literally wake up and see that they have less than 24 hours to live. He goes downstairs to greet his mother Rachel, whose 50th birthday party is going on. When they start talking about money, the party comes to an end. Rachel says that she has 3 days left on her sentence and reminds everyone that they have bills and loans to pay. Will gives her his word that he'll find the money. Rachel says that she will be working for 2 days and paying back a loan. She says, well, he has to meet her at a bus station so he can give her more time. Then she gives him 30 minutes so he can buy himself a good lunch. Will gives her a kiss and a hug before going to work. He was going to work. Will runs into a kid, Maya. She asks for a minute, and he gives her 5 minutes and smiles as he sends her away. When he gets to work, he sees his friend. Bol will work in a factory that makes things that store time. He clocks out at the end of the day and gets paid. He sees that he isn't getting paid enough and asks for more, but the distributor tells him that the quota has gone up and he didn't meet it. Will later goes to a local bar where he meets some men who want to gamble with him. He says no, but not before reminding one of the debt he owes Will. Will waits an hour and then talks to Boral. Boral is drunk and pointing to someone who has been buying drinks for everyone. He says that the man is over 100 years old. In his time, he'll notice that someone is watching the man, and he'll tell the man, Henry, that someone is watching him. Henry will tell the man to leave because he's getting too much attention, but the man won't go. When a group of men walks into the bar, everyone leaves all at once. Boral tells Will that they are Minutemen gangsters who robbed the house next door. Will wants to stay, but Boral pulls him away. He tells Boral that he won't do anything stupid, so Boral lets him be in charge. Forties tells Henry that he wants his time and even gives Henry the chance to fight for it. Henry looks like he wants to throw up, so he goes to the bathroom. While a Minuteman keeps watch, he throws up. Will walks in out of nowhere, knocks the guy out, and takes Henry away. Will and Henry run away from Forties, and his men follow them. After climbing over a gate and hiding in an empty building, they are able to get away. The men in the Minute are close behind and are almost on their trail, but they give up the chase in the end, when one of the men tells Forties that he knew Henry. Henry tells Forties that he is 105 years old. Henry says his mind is tired and he wants to die. When he tries to explain why he acts so quickly, people will get mad because he and his mother have to work more than one job to make ends meet. Henry then tells them the terrible truths about their world. Rich people raise the cost of living, which kills poor people and gives the rich more time. The truth is that everyone has more than enough time, but the rich and powerful are blinded by greed and a desire to live forever. Henry asks, well, what would you do if you had as much time as me? Will says that he won't waste that time if he has it. Like Henry thinks about what Will says, and he and Will both go to sleep. When morning comes, Henry decides to give all of his time to a sleeping Will except for 5 minutes. Will wakes up after a while and finds out he is over 100 years old. He looks for Henry in his time and sees him sitting on top of a bridge. As Henry's last seconds tick down, he smiles and then falls into the river. Later, Will goes to Boral, where he sees Bor's wife Greta with their new baby. Will asks for Boral, and Boral tells Will what time it is. Will tells Boral what happened the night before, and Boral asks him what he is going to do now that he knows the truth. Will wants to do the right thing before he leaves. Will give all of his money to Boral. The bar on the other side of the street is called Boral. Rachel pays back a 2-day loan and tries to take the bus, but she can't afford the fare as high as it is. She begs the driver and the other people in the car, but they all look away because they feel desperate. She begins to run. The two are racing against time and each second and step counts. Rachel's death is getting close. At last, they run into each other. Rachel and Will run as fast as they can, but death catches up to them. Rachel falls lifeless into Will's arms, and Will starts to cry because he knows they were only seconds away from living the life they've always wanted. Will has all the time in the world right now, but his mother doesn't have any. The next day, timekeepers pull Henry's body out of the river. As they're getting ready to leave, the senior timekeeper, Raymond, and his junior, Yeager, check out the scene. On top of the bridge, Raymond sees a camera. Will is sitting in a car with a new suit on and a different look on his face. They leave the time zone, which is a boundary between different social classes. On his trip, they cross several borders and pay tolls that get more expensive as they go. The last border cost will be a year, and the driver welcomes him to the city of New Green. The driver asks him why he really wants to be in New Greenwich, and he tells him he wants to make New Greenwich residents happy. Will isn't used to anything like how pay the city works. As soon as he gets out of the car, he starts running. He is still used to having little time. He looks at his arm and starts to act more like someone who has lots of time on their hands. But a woman named Sylvia was already interested in him. Will walks into a hotel and asks for a suite in his fancy room. Will wakes up with 105 still, even though he sleeps in the most comfortable bed in the most beautiful room. The sudden death of his mother haunts him for the first time in his life. He eats and drinks high-end food and drinks. He pays for his meal and gives the waitress a tip every week. The waitress notices that Will is different from everyone else and says that he does things a little too quickly. Will plans to go to the casino, but first he needs to change his clothes at the timekeeper's headquarters. Cheekly says that he doesn't finish things quickly that matter. They can see clearly on the security footage. Yaga says that a man went to New Greenwich by crossing many borders. They use the computer to find out more about Will, and Raymond tells them that he knows Will's father. Will walks into a casino and sits down at a poker table while the dealer deals cards. Philippe, a billionaire who has lived for eons, learns about what Will won. After a few rounds of poker, the pot has grown to more than 200 years. Philippe adds another 50 years to it. Even though Will calls with full confidence, the river is the sixth of diamonds, and Will's attention shifts from the game to the beautiful Dame Sylvia, who is sitting next to him. When Philippe rolls up his sleeves, he shows almost 10,000 years. Then he talks about how big the gap is between the rich and the poor. Natural selection was used to explain it. He raises 2 more centuries. Will bites and calls, and now only 30 seconds are left on his arm. The outcome is good for Will, and he gets 1,000 years. This made Philippe Stahl's life exciting. He takes note. Will asks him if he thinks Sylvia is his grandmother, mother, or wife as he looks at her. Will just tells her that she'll be. Philippe tells her that she is his daughter, and she asks him to come to a party. Will spends his winnings on a brand new car the next day, which he drives to Philippe's house. There, he meets 3 generations of women who look like sisters. This makes him feel out of place among the rich people. Sylvia comes up to him and saves him from a night of being alone. They talk more and find out more about each other. This leads them to the dance floor. She asks him if he is from the ghetto, but he won't confirm or deny it. Sylvia tells him that her life has no purpose and that the time she has binds her instead of freeing her. While this is going on, Felipe and his wife keep a close eye on the two, which makes Will to lead. Sylvia went to the beach outside. Will and Sylvia take off their clothes and jump into the water. They are naked and float inches apart in the ocean. The moonlight shines on their arms. Sylvia moves away from him, but the waves bring her back. Someone shouts from the shore, ruining the moment of romance. When they get back, Felipe asks Will to play poker with him, but the timekeepers walk in and start a fight. Raymond introduces him and they put him in an office. He asks him why he is in New Greenwich and how he has had more than 1,000 years. Will tells the truth and says that Henry gave it to him and then killed himself. Raymond doesn't believe his explanation, so he takes away his time and puts him in jail as he's leaving. Will asks him why he looks into suicides when people are killed every day in the ghetto. Raymond is surprised by what he says because it reminds him of how Will's father will attack the timekeepers who are protecting him and rush out to take Sylvia hostage. They come in through the kitchen, and then they both get in his car and drive away. There is a car chase, and Raymond rams his car gets in the way, making them lose control. Will moves around with skill while I'm in reverse and just barely avoid hitting an oncoming truck. They can't find the timekeepers, so they hide under a bridge. Will asks Sylvie for her time, but she won't give it to us. When morning comes, they run over while driving along the highways. Traffic gets bad, a tire gets a hole, and they crash. Forties and his men go up to the couple who aren't moving. He takes Sylvia's time, but they have to leave quickly. Leaving her alone for 30 minutes gives her a little bit of time while they run off to get more. Will knocks on Bor's door with 3 minutes left. Greta answers the phone and tells Will that Borl has died from drinking too much. Sylvia is upset because she only has a few minutes left to live. Will sees her earring, so he and she run to the jeweler. When he sees that they are desperate, he offers them less money and only 2 days. When they hear the timekeeper's siren, they run away. As they walk through the city, they talk about the business that Sylvia's family owns. Will asks her how much they are, and she tells him it's too much that knowing it won't make a difference. Will calls Raymond and asks Fee to give Sylvia to the ghetto city for 1,000 years. Raymond tells him that if he keeps going, he will die like his father. Says his father died fighting someone, but Raymond says Will's father was doing something much more dangerous. When night comes, Sylvia makes herself at home however she wants. She asks about his family, and he tells her about the death of her mother. He thinks back on his father and how, like him, he was a gambler who played a different game. His father used his time to play a game that was like gambling. His father won a lot of money, but he was so kind that it killed him. They find out they are about the same age, and as they talk more about each other's lives, their friendship grows. Past morning, he looks around. If Philippe does what he said he would do, we won't stop any time transfers from leaving. Sylvia was sad about her. Even though Will didn't get the time, he still plans to let Sylvia go. He takes her to the phone booth with him. Giving her a gun as a goodbye gift makes her kiss you in return. She calls her father and yells at him because he hasn't given Will what he wants. As they talk, Raymond points a gun at Will from behind her, but Will doesn't know it. When Sylvia turns around and sees Raymond, she shoots him right away. Will points a gun at Raymond as he walks. But instead of taking his time, he gives Raymond the keys to his car and they drive away. Since they are in a police car, Sylvia asks him if he has any plans since they are parked on the side of the main road. They act like a timekeeper who is in the way of a poor driver. Sylvia gets too used to having a gun and shoots it, scaring the driver's Will. They take something from the passenger and drive away in a new car. Later that day, they sit in the backseat and watch the news about them. Will says she can still go back to her dad, but Sylvia doesn't want to go back to him. Boring life will lean in for another kiss, but now they have time to do more than just that. Felipe talks to his business partners in his office and tells them that he didn't pay the ransom. They don't think he has the skills to solve this problem. But before Felipe can explain himself, Raymond walks in. He tells Felipe that her daughter doesn't want to be with them anymore. Felipe says he's sorry and says that his daughter's stubbornness is because she has Stockholm Syndrome. Raymond doesn't give in, so he tells him he's going to arrest his daughter. Felipe offers him his time as a bribe, but Raymond isn't interested and walks away. The day after, Will shows Sylvia how to shoot a gun the right way. They talk about Will's plan to give people more time, and she tells him that she can help him borrow the time he needs at a local business. When a truck crashes through the glass panes, the two thieves pull off a heist and steal as many time-keeping devices as they can. They tell the people who want to borrow money that they can take as much time as they need, so everyone comes running in. Greta and Maya will get more time later that day, as will the person who gives people more time. As a good deed, Fords keeps bothering and killing people for a long time. He then sees a 10-year reward for Will and Sylvia's capture. Felipe is also watching the news about how his daughter keeps trying to steal from him. Later that night, Raymond and the timekeepers gather around a motel where the two are staying. Will and Sylvia see that they are surrounded, so they jump out the window to get away. Raymond follows them through the streets and back alleys. They get to the roofs and start shooting at each other. They get on a bus, but they lose. Raymond, 40s, keeps trying to find Will and Sylvia. He talks to a group and says he is going to steal their time. When one of them dies, a man steps forward and says he knows where they are at the motel. The two of them sit on the couch and talk about the problems they're going to face. Both of them agree that if they'll die at the age they were when they met. And each time they were so close to dying, Sylvia felt more alive than ever. 40s and his men suddenly kick down the door because they want to help. Will gets a chance to play for his life thanks to 40s. 40s rolls up his sleeve for a game of strong arm and accepts the challenge. He will fight until the very end. Then he does the opposite. When 40s loses track of what he is doing, his subordinates come up to the table and look at the fear in his eyes. Grosswell pulls a gun from his ankle and shoots everyone while siphoning for. Will and Sylvia are on a roof. As they watch prices keep going up, Will feels like he has no hope, saying that every time they steal as part of the ritual, the cost of living will go up. He says that it will only make a difference in a million years. Even though Sylvia agrees, she has a plan. The next day, Philippe walks into a building where he is surrounded by many bodyguards. Sylvia gets their attention and asks if any of the guards are her father. One of the guards points a gun right at Philip. He tells the guards to put down their weapons, and then they take Felipe as a prisoner. In his office, there is a time vault with a device that has 1,000,000 years in it. Felipe tries to explain that if the wrong people get that time, society will fail. He says that people will always be willing to kill others for a chance to live forever. Will is so angry that he points a gun at him, but he backs away. His words will show Felipe that being immortal is not worth even one person's life. Then, the two leave. In the meantime, police cars start blocking the main road. The timekeeper shoots at Will and Sylvia's car, but they cross the border without getting hurt when they crash into the toll booth. Raymond keeps trying to find them and doesn't give up. They get to the ghetto, and just as they're about to get to safety, Raymond catches up to them and crashes into them. Will gets out of the crash unharmed and asks Maya to give out the 1,000,000 years. Raymond points a gun at the two, but he can't see them because of all the people around him. This gives them a chance to get away. Raymond takes a car by force, and the chase goes on. At last, they run into each other in the middle of the road. Raymond admits that he is also from the ghetto, as he learned how to get out of poverty. He also saw the hard truth that the gap between the rich and the poor has to stay the same. Raymond realizes that his time is up as they talk. He dies right there, and the two try to figure out how to get more. Ray's car is off in the distance. They run toward it like time is running out. Lou is the first one there, and he gets his time. He runs to Sylvie, who only has a few seconds left. Just in time, they run into each other's arms, and they both live to see another day. People are now crossing borders into areas where things cost more. The moment men watch as their social order starts to fall apart. Sylvian will keep doing what they always do, but this time they will go to a massive